President.
And there's the old seat.
President Douglas.
President Kramer. Well, it covers that.
My Fellow Americans is a 1996 comedy film directed by Peter Siegel that would find mixed reviews and some satisfactory box office success. After a bitterly fought United States presidential election, Republican Senator Russell Kramer of Ohio, played by Jack Lemmon, narrowly defeats his opponent, Democratic Governor Matt Douglas of Indiana, played by James Garner.
You know, I've always said that our dreams are like our children. They need encouragement and support to grow. They must be nurtured and sheltered, but allowed to run free.
4 years later, following a rematch, Douglas decisively defeats the incumbent President Kramer.
A funny thing happened on the way to the office tonight. I got elected President of the United States.
4 years after that, Kramer's former vice president, William Haney of Texas, played by Dan Aykroyd, and his dim-witted running mate, Ted Matthews, played by John Hurd, defeat President Douglas.
Shall we greet the nation, Mr. Vice President-elect?
I guess so. But are we sure it's official, sir?
Well, Ted, President Douglas just conceded. I'd say that's a pretty damn good sign.
3 years later, and 3 years into President Haney's term, former President Kramer finds himself writing books and speaking at inconsequential functions for places like insurance companies. Former President Douglas has also written a book, and he is womanizing after going through a divorce. Douglas finds himself still being bitter after losing the White House 3 years before.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, I'll never be like Kramer, running around the country sucking up every dime it isn't nailed down. Now, Jimmy Carter, there's a class act. He goes around building homes for poor people with his own hands. That's classy.
Well, you could do that.
Yeah, maybe in a couple of years, but right now my attitude is they didn't vote for me, let them freeze.
Meanwhile, the Democrats learn about Olympia, the code name for several bribes and kickbacks that defense contractor Charlie Reynolds, played by James Rebhorn, paid President Haney when he was still vice president. President Haney and his chief of staff, Carl Wittenauer, played by Bradley Whitford, planned to frame Kramer for the scandal, despite Haney's private acknowledgement to Wittenauer that Kramer knew nothing about it. When Washington reporter Kay Griffin, played by Celia Ward, informs President Kramer that rumors are suggesting that Kramer was involved in taking bribes, he begins his own investigation, informing his wife and former First Lady Margaret Kramer, played by Lauren Bacall.
My nose is clean.
What I'm hearing is that your last year in office, you took a very generous, let's call it a fee, for delivering a big defense contract. I'm just looking for a confirmation on that.
Are you saying that I took a kickback?
Democratic Party Chairman Joe Hollis, played by Wilford Brimley, asks President Douglas to investigate, offering the support of the Democrats for a presidential run in return for his help.
Do you really think the party would back me if I helped out?
It's already been discussed, Mr. President.
Really? There is an extra bonus to this. I either get the son of a bitch I hate,
Good to see you.
or the son of a bitch I really hate.
NSA agent Colonel Tanner, played by Everett McGill, has Reynolds assassinated when he attempts to tell Douglas the truth about Olympia. Sneaking away from a book signing, both Kramer and Douglas find Reynolds dead.
What did you do?
Oh, what did I do? Right, you caught me. We got into a huge argument about your cookbook, so I plugged him.
You got a problem with my cookbook?
Douglas and Kramer are forced to board a presidential helicopter by Colonel Tanner, who claims they will be taken to Camp David to meet with Haney. During the flight, Douglas realizes that they are headed in the wrong direction.
Then put this bird on the ground right now, and that's an order.
Respectfully, sir, I can't do that. My orders are classified.
All right, right, Major. You land this contraption or I'll blow your friggin' head off.
You gentlemen said you wanted to maintain radio silence?
Douglas, what the hell? You don't shoot a gun off in a confined area. You're trying to deafen us all?
Just get out of the chopper.
What?
Get out of the chopper.
The crops.
Get out!
After the chopper explodes, the presidents come to the realization that someone wants them dead. Stranded in western North Carolina, they decide to clear their names with records kept at Kramer's Presidential Library in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, near Akron.
This thing stops in Akron, which isn't far from Cuyahoga Falls, where my library is.
What's it doing there? Weren't you born in Cleveland?
Well, yeah, I was, but Cleveland wouldn't cut me a decent deal on the property taxes. I mean, moving that house was a bitch, but the financial benefits have been fantastic.
On a train bound for Cleveland, they are mistaken for celebrity impersonators.
Have you ever met the real President Kramer?
Actually, I have. A great American.
Give me a break. Our dreams are like children. They need to be nurtured. They need to be supported. They need to eat their vegetables.
Prick.
This is so weird. I shouldn't tell you this, but a couple of years ago, I had a thing with the real President Douglas. At a 4th of July do, and we did.
How was he? Any good?
Well, to tell you the truth, it was a lot like his presidency. There was a lot of talk leading up to it, but then he didn't do much.
The former presidents also find themselves meeting random Americans, including a married couple named Wayne and Jenny, played by Jack Keller and Connie Ray, traveling with their 2 young children to Cleveland, Ohio.
We're never getting to Ohio, not the way this guy drives. Every 500 feet they stop to take another damn picture. The Donner Party move faster.
Ah, shut up. I'm trying to sleep. Oh, my God. He squeezed my breast again.
After the presidents correct Wayne's incorrect statements about American history and insult him, Wayne and Jenny give the presidents a piece of their mind.
We lost our jobs because of your budget cuts, President Kramer. And we lost our home because of your economic downturn, President Douglas.
Both men begin to form a bond over the emotional impact of reaching the highest office in the land and then losing it.
80 million. That's how many people voted against me the last time out. That's how many people didn't trust me, didn't like me, didn't, who knows.
I stayed in bed for a week and a half after they voted me out. Let's stop talking. We're about to bond. That'll make me vomit.
President Douglas and President Kramer tried to avoid assassins and clear their names and confront President Haney before it is too late. Frank Oz and Jim Abrams had previously been attached to direct this film at different points of development before Peter Siegel was signed on. Peter Siegel, who had directed Chris Farley, David Spade, and Dan Aykroyd in the film Tommy Boy the previous year, was asked to come back and direct their next starring movie, Black Sheep, but he turned it down in order to work on this movie. In his memoirs, James Garner wrote that he enjoyed working with Jack Lemmon, but he felt the director was, quote, a self-appointed genius who didn't know his ass from second base, and Jack and I both knew it, end quote. Much of the movie was filmed in and around the Smoky Mountains of western North Carolina near Asheville, Black Mountain, Dillsboro, and near the Biltmore Estate. The train used in the movie is a functioning tourist train located outside the Great Smoky Mountains National Park in North Carolina. This movie was filmed from March to June of 1996.
Did you ever have one of her pizzas? It was like a wet dream with a crust.
A wet dream?
Huh?
I don't think I need to hear Russell P. Kramer saying the words wet dream. I'll wake up screaming every night till I die.
There's nothing wrong with wet dreams. Stop. I had a couple when I was a kid.
Great. I'll look for that exhibit in your library. Just stop.
Kramer and Douglas were originally written to be younger, with Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman eyed to star. This would have reunited Robin Williams and Dustin Hoffman after they starred together in the 1991 film Hook. On the set during principal photography, this movie was often informally and unofficially called Grumpy Old Presidents. This film was originally supposed to be a Jack Lemmon Walter Matthau movie, with the role of President Matt Douglas written for Walter Matthau. However, due to an illness he had at the time, Walter Matthau pulled out and was replaced by James Garner.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, you gotta be kidding.
Our dreams are like our children. Don't you fall into the trap. Democrats are full of crap.
Anything you really like, I can get it for you at cost.
I feel dirty.
At the Russell P. Kramer Presidential Library in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, there is a life-size cutout of President Kramer in a U.S. naval officer's uniform. The cardboard cutout appears to be Jack Lemmon in a naval uniform from his 1960 film, The Wackiest Ship in the Army. Jack Lemmon really did serve in the U.S. Navy during World War II. James Garner was a war hero serving in the Army during the Korean War, receiving 2 Purple Hearts. Dan Aykroyd became an American citizen and wound up being sworn in as a reserve deputy police officer for the Hinds County Sheriff's Department in Mississippi in January of 2014. Though he portrays a United States president, Dan Aykroyd is Canadian-born and would not be eligible to run for president of the United States in real life. Actress Lauren Bacall has only 11 lines of dialogue in the entire film. Wilford Brimley plays the chairman of the Democratic National Committee, but in real life, Wilford Brimley was a Republican. Bradley Whitford portrays Carl Wittenauer, White House Chief of Staff to a Republican President William Haney. Bradley Whitford would later star on the NBC political drama The West Wing from 1999 to 2006, playing Josh Lyman, Deputy White House Chief of Staff to Democratic President Josiah Bartlett, played by Martin Sheen. Released into theaters December 20th, 1996, My Fellow Americans grossed a total of $22.3 million on a budget of $21.5 million, breaking even. That isn't bad considering it had to compete with 1996 hit films including Jerry Maguire, 101 Dalmatians, Scream, Jingle All the Way, and Beavis and Butthead Do America. It was also released just after the 1996 presidential election, which I remember as one of the quietest, most boring, most uneventful presidential elections in American history. That, combined with the fact that it was meant to be a Jack Lemmon Walter Matthau film, likely hurt it a bit with audiences. James Garner was fantastic, but I think had Walter Matthau not been ill at the time, this movie may have found more success.
No, you do yours and I'll sing mine.
Hail to the chief, he's the chief and he needs hailing. He is the chief, so everybody hail like crazy. Hail to... That's... Okay, well, let's hear your version, Gershwin.
No.
Well, what do you mean, no? I sang mine.
I know, you're an idiot.
I saw this movie when I rented it in late 2003, early 2004. I watched it with my father, we loved it, and that was a presidential election year. I remember showing the film to my grandparents that same year, and they both enjoyed it.
Charlie, take 3.
No, we're never getting to Ohio. Not the way this guy drives. Every 500 feet, they stop to take another damn picture. The Donner Party move faster.
Hey, shut up. I'm trying to sleep.
Oh, God, he's crazy.
No dice. You could spit in a petri dish and stir it up. Oh, shit. Keep going. All right. Oh, sure. I'm just about to share my coffee.
Let me find a toilet. Do you have to laugh all the time? A and B camera, common marker.
You think that was the tires? Why don't look at me like that.
What am I supposed to do?
Jack Lemmon, James Garner, and Dan Aykroyd all play convincing American presidents. I think that Jack Lemmon looks like a president for sure, and even though he's Canadian-born, Dan Aykroyd plays a pretty convincing president of the United States.
Russell.
Yeah.
Hail to the chief, if you don't, I'll have to kill you. I am the chief, so you better watch your step, you bastards. We're even.
If you are in the mood for great actors and an enjoyable movie with some good laughs, I highly recommend My Fellow Americans.